welcome back to another chess video. So in this episode of Chess for Beginners series, we will talk about how the pieces move, and in the next episode we will talk about the rules of chess and how they work. So let's begin. So first we'll start off with the rook from the right side of the board, and then we'll advance. So first we'll start with the rook. The rook is a very important piece. It's worth 5 points, and basically it has a very big advantage on straight lines, like open files and columns. So for example, if my rook was here, and for example if there was a pawn in the way and it was defended somehow, the best place to put the rook is somewhere on these files. So it's a very big advantage. Now I know this seems a little small for an example, but you'll see how this is useful when we actually get into the games that we will look on the later episodes of this series. So the rook it's a very good piece, I shall say. So it just moves in straight lines. You know, it can move pretty actively around the board. If it was empty, that's one of its big advantages. Now right next to the rook we have the knight. Now the knight is an okay piece. It's one of the minor pieces, we call it. The minor pieces consist of the bishop, the knight, and the rook. So what they do, so those are called like developing pieces, which like when you are advancing in the game, you are developing, you are making progress with those pieces, because you don't get your queen out too early. So the knight is worth 3 points, and it's the only piece that can jump around pieces. For example, if there was a pawn here, let's say, we could just move right here, just like that, over the piece. So how the knight works, it goes boom, boom. So 1, 2, and then it goes 1 square to the right or 1 square to the left. So 2 straight, 1 square to the right or 1 square to the left. And it could jump over any piece. If this is a queen or if this is a king, it doesn't matter. It could jump over this piece like it's nothing. Yeah, keep in mind that it's the only piece that can do this. Like a normal queen can't just jump over pieces all the way over here. No. Okay, I actually forgot to talk about this piece. It's the pawn. It's a very simple piece. It's worth 1 point, and it's usually what you move in the opening. So it's not a minor piece because you don't really develop. It's like it could be a sacrificial piece. It's like it could be a protecting piece as well. It's a very strong protecting piece. For example, if this is protected by a pawn, and a knight needs protection because it's getting attacked by the queen, you could just move like this with the pawn, and your problems are solved. Okay, so that's all it for the pawn. So the pawn can move 2 squares at its beginning move. The beginning move is when it's at this, like that. So it can move either 1 square or 2 squares. Once it's done its beginning move, it can't move 2 squares again. it can only do it on its beginning move, and then advances. So, and it can capture. So, if for example, bishop is here, you can capture. It can only capture diagonally. If a piece is in front of it, like for example, a knight is in front of this pawn, it can't take it. Okay, now for the bishop. The bishop is also a very simple piece. It's one of the minor pieces that's used for development during the game. So basically, what the bishop does is it moves diagonally, depending on its colored square. So for example, if your bishop is on a dark square, it would move diagonally only among the dark squares. If it was on a light square, it would only move among the light squares diagonally. And it's also worth 3 points like the knight, but just like the rook, in open positions where there's very few pieces and the board is like really wide and opened up, this bishop is really useful. The knight is useful in closed positions. So the rook and bishop are good on open positions. Knight is good on closed positions. You need to remember that when, in your games. Okay. So now, as we advance to this side, we get the king. Now, the king is the most important piece in chess. If you just move it here, it's not very complicated, really. It can move in any single direction in one square in any single direction, and it can't jump over pieces. It can't do anything like that. The chess has no value. Also, I'd just like to let you know that the king has no value. Like, if it can't be captured. It can only be checkmated, which I will explain in the rules episode. So yeah, it's worth infinite points. It's literally like no points at all because you can't capture it. Now we move on to the queen, the last piece of this tutorial. The queen is the most powerful piece in chess. It's worth 9 points, and it could go in any single direction. It's the combination of a rook and a bishop mixed together. So it can go in any one of these directions, like so. So it covers every single one of these squares. It can be used for protecting, it can be guarded. Usually the queen is used for attacking most of the time. So you might want to keep your queen on the board if you want to attack. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I hope you liked this video. If you did, subscribe and drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video.